3 years, $50 million to Dallas. That's way better than the 2 years, roughly $20 million Golden State offered. How did it all fall apart? And why did Klay, one of the most loyal and beloved players, decide to walk away from the team that defined him? It all started at Game 6 of the NBA Finals, and the Golden State Warriors battling the Toronto Raptors. Klay Thompson, a vital cog in the Warriors' unstoppable dynasty, went down, an ACL tear. You can feel the entire arena gasp. And with that injury, the balance of power shifts, not just for this game, but for the dynasty, leading to one of the most shocking exits in NBA history. Klay Thompson leaving and the dynasty collapsing. Klay had spent his entire career with the Warriors, becoming a franchise icon. Yet, even those closest to him often wondered if they truly knew him. Assistant coach Bruce Frazier once remarked, "If I could choose my favorite book, it would be the one written by Klay Thompson at 60, because that's when you'll get everything that's in his soul." Over the past year, anyone paying attention to Klay Thompson could see what's going on. His frustration was hard to hide. One person close to him even described him as miserable. Contract negotiations with the Warriors left him feeling undervalued.
You know, sometimes you earn these things like patience and time to find yourself. And I think history is on our side when it comes to that stuff. No, I don't care what people say. Like, they don't do what we do. They can't do what they do. That's why they talk. Why would I? Like, come on. I don't care what people say at this point in my life.
Especially compared to Steph Curry and Draymond Green's 4-year, $100 million contract. He couldn't shake the sense that his role was fading, even being benched, and it made him miserable as his game continued to decline. To understand why Klay Thompson left the Warriors, we have to travel back in time to 2011. At this point, they were a team searching for an identity, a team in desperate need of a change. In that year, the Warriors took a chance. With the 11th overall pick, they selected Klay Thompson, a sharpshooter out of Washington State. Klay was quiet, soft-spoken, seen by many as a promising talent.
The weight is off my shoulders. The weight of the world is gone, and it's just a relief, but a blessing, most importantly.
But few believed he would go on to become one of the greatest shooters in NBA history. Klay's arrival marked the beginning of a new era for the Warriors. Alongside Steph and Curry, they formed the iconic Splash Brothers duo that about changed how the game was played.
I knew we were in good shape because I didn't have to go against him. I could go with him, and it was nice to make some shots and put on a great show.
Under coach Steve Kerr, they turned the Warriors into a championship team, redefining NBA basketball with ball movement, spacing, and deadly three-pointers. The Warriors quickly became the team to beat. Championships in 2015, 2017, and 2018 solidified their place as one of the greatest dynasties in NBA history. And Klay Thompson, he was at the center of it all. Known for his defense and ability to catch fire and score 37 points in a quarter, Klay was more than just a shooter. In 2019, the Warriors faced the Toronto Raptors in the NBA Finals. Klay was having one of the best series of his career, putting everything on the line for a third consecutive championship. But in Game 6, we all know what happened. Klay suffered a torn ACL. In a moment that shocked the basketball world, Klay limped back onto the court to take his free throws before being helped off for good. The Warriors would lose that game and the championship. For the first time in 5 years, they weren't on top of the NBA. For Klay, this was only the beginning. As he started his grueling recovery, the future of the Warriors dynasty began to look uncertain. Kevin Durant left the team, signing with the Brooklyn Nets, leaving behind a team that was suddenly vulnerable. The 2019 to 2020 season was a brutal one for the Warriors. Without Klay, they struggled, missing the playoffs altogether. But Klay Thompson was determined to make a comeback.
And Lauren Markin in the basket. Mean bucket too. Oh, he's all the way back.
Even his fight back to the court was one of the best stories in sports a few years ago. His rehab was progressing, and fans were eagerly awaiting his return to the court for the 2020 to 2021 season. Yet, just as he was on the verge of making his triumphant return, tragedy struck again. In November 2020, Klay tore his Achilles, sidelining him for yet another season. 2 catastrophic injuries in back-to-back seasons. Klay was facing the possibility that his body might never fully recover. As Klay Thompson fought through rehab and grueling recovery, doubts began to creep in. Would he ever be the same player again? Could the Warriors dynasty survive without him? These questions weighed heavily on Klay's mind, and behind the scenes, things were changing at Golden State. The Warriors were no longer just thinking about today, they were thinking about tomorrow. They began drafting younger players, signaling a shift towards the future. For Klay, who had spent his entire career battling alongside the likes of Steph Curry and Draymond Green, this was difficult to swallow. With players like Buddy Hield and Kyle Anderson stepping into new roles and Steph Curry signing a fresh contract, the Warriors are preparing for a new era. The team is counting on these additions alongside with young talents like Jonathan Kuminga to lead them into the future. But without Klay, the chemistry and identity of the team will shift dramatically. However, as Steve Kerr has said, this isn't just the end of the road, just a new chapter. During his prime years, from 2014 to 2019, Klay Thompson was a force in the playoffs, averaging around 19 to 21 points per game, shooting over 40% from behind the arc and playing stellar defense. In contrast, the 2023 to 2024 season saw a significant dip in his stats, especially in terms of efficiency and minutes played. His shooting percentage dropped to below 35% from deep, and injuries seemed to slow down his defensive intensity, which had once been a hallmark of his game. This statistical decline was hard to ignore and played a role in his eventual departure. There was also the looming question of his contract. Klay had signed a massive 5-year, $190 million deal in 2019. But with his injuries keeping him off the court, there were rumors that the Warriors might consider trading him. For a player as loyal as Klay, this idea was gut-wrenching. Imagine serving nearly a decade to a team, pouring your heart and soul into every game, only to hear whispers that you might be traded. For Klay, this wasn't just a business decision, it felt like a betrayal. After 2 years of injuries and uncertainty, Klay Thompson had a decision to make. Klay's body had been through hell. 2 major injuries in back-to-back years had taken their toll, but his love for the Warriors will never change. He loved the franchise, the fans, and the city of Oakland. But basketball is a business, and Klay knew that sometimes even the strongest bonds have to break. One of the key reasons Klay Thompson decided to leave was the shifting dynamics within the Warriors organization. The team that once built its success on the chemistry between its stars, Klay, Steph, and Draymond, was now shifting focus to the next generation. The drafting of players like Jordan Poole and Jonathan Kuminga indicated a transition that Klay wasn't sure he wanted to be a part of. Ever since he tore his ACL in the 2019 NBA Finals, the Warriors have been forced to adjust. They didn't want to, but with Thompson out for 2 full seasons due to his knee and Achilles injuries, they had no choice but to find other options. When he finally returned in 2022, Jordan Poole shifted to the bench to allow Thompson back into the starting lineup. Yet, Poole's presence, along with his growing contract demands, put subtle pressure on Thompson's role. The Warriors decided to extend Poole for 4 years at $140 million and locked in Andrew Wiggins for $109 million, while Thompson and Draymond Green were left waiting for their turn. This decision didn't sit well with the veteran duo, sources say. Throughout the season, the Warriors assured Thompson they wanted him to stay, but asked him to be patient while they sorted out other priorities. By the time the offseason rolled around, Thompson's representatives have presented at least 4 contract proposals, each met with the same response: not yet. The message was clear: Thompson was no longer the priority. Fast forward to a month after a golf outing at Riviera. Thompson, feeling unsure about his future with the Warriors, had an epiphany. After a long stretch of frustration, he realized he needed something different. He needed to step away from the familiar environment of Golden State and the expectations tied to his legacy. 2 weeks earlier, his camp had made a final offer to the Warriors, a 2-year deal at around $20 million per season. But again, the answer was, we just can't commit yet. For 5 years, Thompson had been striving to regain his position with the Warriors, to be the player he once was. But deep down, he knew that neither the team nor he were the same anymore. The past 2 seasons have been grueling, filled with attempts to adapt to new realities. Instead of resisting this inevitable change, Thompson began to wonder, why not embrace something new? He found himself drawn to the Dallas Mavericks playoff run, intrigued by their energy. The young Oklahoma City Thunder piqued his interest, and of course, his childhood dream of playing for the Lakers in Kobe Bryant's uniform never faded. In the days leading up to free agency, Thompson met with Steve Kerr in Los Angeles and laid everything out on the table. he reached out to Draymond Green and Steph Curry, sharing his desire for a fresh start and asked them not to influence the Warriors' decision. He even called Joe Lacob and general manager Mike Dunleavy Jr., requesting their help in facilitating a move to a team of his choice, even if it meant to sign and trade. Everyone understood it was time for an amicable separation, and Dallas was at the top of his list. Thompson believed his skills would mesh perfectly with Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving.
Kyrie and I are good friends. I mean, we came to the league together in 2011. We played on Team USA together twice. Obviously, we played against each other at the highest stages for many years, and I've always been a fan of Kai's game, and he actually was one of the first people to text me just how grateful he is to be here. It just inspired me because, I mean, they were so close to winning the whole thing, and, you know, I think we can help get them over that hump.
And saw himself thriving in their system. The decision was made. Why not fight for something new instead of battling against the inevitable decline? Another driving factor was the financial pressure on the Warriors. Klay's massive contract, coupled with his long-term injuries, made him a target for trade rumors. As much as the Warriors value Klay, the cold reality of salary cap management meant his contract was seen as a potential liability. Klay Thompson's frustration had been building for a while. He felt disrespected when the Warriors didn't offer him an extension the summer after they won the championship. That frustration deepened even more the following year, when the team only offered him a 2-year deal worth around $23 million to $24 million per season, far from the 4-year, $100 million contract that Draymond Green received. Thompson did little to hide his feelings once the season started, and his actions increasingly became difficult to manage, infuriating even his loyalists in the locker room. He had several emotional meetings with Warriors coach Steve Kerr, a marked contrast from the days when Kerr dubbed him a zero-maintenance star. This weighed heavily on Klay, who had given everything to the franchise. Following the brutal years of recovery and uncertainty, Klay began to reconsider his own career goals. He had accomplished so much with the Warriors, but the injuries made him reflect on the time he had left in the league. He wanted a fresh start, a chance to compete at the highest level once again, and he knew that his best shot might be somewhere else. Klay also felt the pressure to win again, but everything since that championship has been off, the team and Thompson himself. The joy, such a hallmark of the Warriors' dynastic run since 2015, had evaporated. The team wasn't winning either, going 90-74 the past 2 years and missing the playoffs this past season. Other teams were watching closely, ready to offer Klay a role in their championship pursuits. Amidst years of loyalty, dedication, and sacrifice, Klay Thompson knows that his time with the Warriors is nearing its end. The once invincible dynasty has been worn down by injuries, time, and the natural evolution of the game. For Klay, the decision to leave isn't about abandoning the team that brought him 3 championships. It's about finding a new path where he can thrive again, rediscovering the joy of competing at the highest level. Though the injuries have taken their toll, Klay's competitive fire still burns brighter than ever. Looking ahead at the upcoming season, there's a pivotal point many are waiting for. Just like Phoenix's resurgence last season, the Warriors and Mavericks are entering the next phase with a lot on the line. The Warriors will need to see if their young core and new signings can replicate their old success, while Klay's move to Dallas offers him a fresh start, a chance to prove that he's still one of the best shooters in the league. Klay Thompson's story didn't end with the Warriors. His journey continues in a new city with a new team, but the same drive, the same fire. His legacy in Golden State will never be forgotten, but Klay was ready for a fresh start. As the Warriors prepare to enter the 2023 and 2024 season without Klay for the first time, there are many question marks. Will the team's new additions help them stay relevant in the stacked Western Conference? How will Steph Curry's leadership evolve without his longtime running mate? On the other hand, Klay now has the chance to carve out a new legacy in Dallas, potentially alongside Luka Doncic. Can he recapture the magic of his prime? Only time will tell. The Phoenix Suns will be a major competitor, but Dallas will look to rise like a phoenix, led by Klay's desire to prove he still got it. Indeed, Klay's impact will be felt for generations. He didn't just change the Warriors, he changed the game. From his lockdown defense to his electric shooting, Klay reevaluated what it meant to be a two-way player. He's a symbol of strength, and his story isn't over. Not by a long shot. Klay Thompson, a Warrior forever, no matter where his journey takes him. See you in the next video. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share it and subscribe to the channel. Check out our previous videos. They're definitely worth watching.